Nico is a very kind and honest person.
Leila is a very loving person. She's very kind. You know, she's always thinking about others first.
He's a really hard worker.
I think she has a talent for almost anything.
When he does something, he wants to do it right. And I really like that about him.
Always happy, you know, very positive person. And it's nice to be around someone with good qualities like that.
I love Nico with every molecule of my body and my soul. And I just really can't imagine not having him in my life.
There's so many things running through my mind, it's hard to pick just one thing and make sense of it, but I really love Leila with all my heart.
I'm Leila Malherbe. I am 28 years old. I was born in Oakland, California.
My name is Nico Malherbe. I'm 35 years old. I am from South Africa.
I started out in culinary school. That's what I thought I wanted to do for a long time. And I soon figured out that that was not what I wanted to do. I went back to school for business administration. I work currently at John F. Kennedy University as an administrative assistant.
I did a bunch of different things after school. I started off by doing work in computers, computer technician. I moved to Jeffreys Bay, where I started playing in a band. I did that for 2 years. Then moved back to Johannesburg, and I worked at a casino for 2-3 years. And that's when I finally went back home. My stepdad is a plumber, and that's kind of been in the family, you know. So that was a good thing for me to pick up again, and that's what I'm still doing now. Love and marriage is kind of like two stones with rough edges, and in the beginning they're thrown in this turning ball, but as time goes on, you know, the rough edges would smoothen out. So that's definitely, time plays a big role in it. And as far as, you know, slight arguments, and if it's appropriate, I think sometimes taking some time, you know, just taking a break and saying, let's revisit this, you know, maybe later or maybe tomorrow or whatever, that helps you think about what's going on and take in whatever she said or what I said, and kind of making sense of it.
Sometimes, though, that's where things get tricky, because I need to, like, work it out right away.
That's true.
If something goes on, you know, I might be able to wait a few minutes or, like, take a breather, but I just like to work out the kinks. But he definitely, I think, likes his time, and I think I'm getting better at, like, being patient and waiting a little bit until the dust settles, and then it's easy to come back together and talk something through and find a solution. That was easier said than done.
Let's sleep on it, and we'll see tomorrow. We don't have to sort it out right away.
I need to know, are we being too serious? Right now, please. I met Nico in 2007. I was 17 or 18 years old, and I was traveling by myself after I graduated high school to South Africa. Originally, I wanted to go and do some Baha'i service there, which I did a portion of, but God had a different plan for me, clearly.
I was out with some of my friends, which one of them were just about to get married, and I was the only one that did not have a date to this wedding.
After I spent some time in this town, I was invited to a wedding, a local Afrikaans wedding that was taking place there.
With that on the back of my mind, we also heard about this girl visiting from America, which was a really small town, so, you know, that's something that would would go around pretty fast. And somehow it ended up being my goal to get this girl to be my date to this wedding.
I was asked by someone else if I'd attend this wedding with this person. And so after thinking about it a while, I decided to accept, and I ended up going to this wedding. And this person that I accompanied was Nico.
We became friends immediately, you know. Yeah, we kept in touch for the remainder of her time in Stillby until she had to go back to the US.
Yeah, the more we spoke, the deeper our connection became and relationship. The only problem was that we had oceans between us, so we didn't really think anything could come of it. I think at one point, Nico decided that maybe it would be a good idea for him to come out to California and visit.
I ended up visiting here. There was uncertainty of how things would go, you know, for the first time coming here and, you know, seeing each other again after all those years. We picked up where we left off, and things was great. There's just things that one person is definitely better at than the other, you know, and kind of complements each other, and it's not assigning a specific thing to a specific person or gender related.
I think the role for both people is to love the other person unconditionally, to make sure that they feel safe to express whatever they need to know that they won't be judged or laughed at, and how they feel is important to the other person.
Yeah, figuring out what those things are.
Yeah.
It's the expectations too, you know. You need to kind of figure out how to show that you are doing your part. And sometimes you have to go a little further than you might think, because what you send out might be a little less might be picked up by the other one. So,
like we don't always necessarily hear something and understand it the same way that
right.
The sender is trying to make it understood.
Yeah, you might read it differently, or I might not see how much trouble you're going through to get something through to me, you know.
So yeah, communication for sure is easier said than done, but I think there are so many levels to communicating, and it works differently for every person. Forget about the makeup, you'll be mad about your hair.
I would be, yeah. She came to visit in 2012, around June. It was our winter month, and we already spoke about possibilities of getting married, so that was the perfect opportunity for me to propose to Leila.
It was just like a typical weekday afternoon. He was at work and I was back at home, and he had been kind of coming and going in and out, like coming home and like preparing things and working on something and then going back out, and seemed like he was really like busy with other things. And anyway, he was going to make dinner for me that evening, which he did.
Obviously it was hard for me to put away the nervousness, so I'm sure she knew something was up, whether that was good or bad, but I know she knew something was coming. I
had a promise ring on my finger that he had given me a year before that, so he said that I needed to take that ring back. I was a little bit confused, but he replaced it with an engagement ring. I just started telling her that how much she means to me, and I got down on one knee and I proposed. And I said yes.
My parents are divorced, so I always lived closer at that time to my mom and my stepdad and one of my siblings, my sister. So I think we kind of told them first, you know, telling your mom you're going to leave the country. I am really lucky to come from a very supportive family. So
the moment that they met Nico during his first visit here, they really liked him a lot.
So our wedding day was on the 26th of October 2013. It was a beautiful day.
We actually had planned to get married one day, and then for one reason or another that date didn't work out, and we had to postpone our wedding, which was very stressful. But it turns out our original date ended up pouring rain, and there were thunderstorms, and it was awful. So I was like, thank you. So the day that we ended up getting married was perfect.
We combined both the Christian and Baha'i wedding ceremony, I would suppose, being from the two different religion backgrounds.
Very simple. We had about 115 people or so, my closest friends and family, and most importantly, his mom was able to come all the way from South Africa to be there. It was unfortunate that we didn't have his other family there with us. I think that, you know, if and when we have children, and hopefully we do, we have decided that we will introduce them to both the Baha'i and Christian faiths. We both know that each other's faiths and religious backgrounds are important, and I think that we believe that there's so much common ground. So
absolutely.
Yeah, that's important to us and to both of our families, I'm sure, to include, you know, education of both faiths and influences.
It obviously has come up, you know, even before we got married. Like that's a big question to ask. My understanding right now of it, at least, is to expose them to everything that I know and everything she knows, both religions, and, you know, hopefully that would just give them their own mindset to follow, you know. I know for a fact that if it doesn't go my way, you know, I'll still be fine with it.
I come from a family that's very expressive, and Nico comes from a background in a family that maybe is a little bit more to themselves in terms of opening up or sharing feelings. I find that we balance each other out very well. I've learned a little bit to just kind of like take it easy sometimes and relax, and I feel that he has become a little bit more open and like maybe a little bit more expressive. I really enjoyed that part of our relationship, how we give something that the other can take from, and vice versa, these like learning things from each other. First of all, I definitely believe in gender equality. I should say that. I don't believe that there are certain responsibilities that should only be a man's versus only be a woman's. But with that said, I think everybody has different strengths and different qualities that they can bring to a relationship. And I believe it's important to bring those qualities out in the other person. It's important to encourage each other, to support each other, to love each other. And in order to do that, you really need to dig deeper and really know the person's soul.
I definitely agree, yeah.